Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is a civil disruption discussion, sparking change for our world. We walk through fire with our words, committing our souls, sharing goals our people have longed for. Who would have believed it? That's why we broadcast this. We want you to witness it.
Well, good evening,
Hey,
everybody. How y'all doing? Tracy, your show.
how you doing, Daryl, on this civil disruption night?
I'm breathing and feeling blessed. Great opportunity to talk to some incredible people, and I'm ready to have some fun.
I'm ready to. Real quick, civil disruption is the intentional act of challenging harmful norms, systems, and narratives in a way that spark dialogue, accountability, and transformative change without resorting to chaos and violence. It is a Black led lens on the moments, ideas, and voices that interrupt business as usual. It is not about disorder, it is about courage, conversation that unsettles comfort confronts power and pushes the culture forward. So just a little background on who we are and what we are doing and why we are doing this show. So yeah, Daryl, let's bring on our guest.
Okay. You want to introduce our first guest?
Who's our first guest?
Tara
Tara Jake.
Jacobs. She's running for
Oh,
the
okay.
Governor's Council. Tara, we're going to switch screens and bring you right on some kind of way here. Here we go.
Hello.
Welcome back. Welcome to Civil Disruption. We're glad you're back. We just had you about a week ago, and the election is, I feel like it's tomorrow morning. We're getting really close. So
Yeah.
we know we had you, but we want to give everybody an opportunity to, for those who have, been on with us, give you an opportunity to come back and tell everybody quickly why you are the candidates that they should be considering, the one and only candidate. So take a moment, talk to us about who you are, what office you're seeking, why you're running, and then talk to us about why voters should choose you.
Absolutely. First off, I'm so glad to be back. And I just want to thank you for the experience last week. It was fantastic. And I really enjoyed it. And it meant a lot. And so thanks for having me back just a week later. It feels like we were just together not too long ago. And I also want to thank you, Daryl and Metro Record, for the amazing, glowing endorsement. That was fantastic. And to Tracy for your endorsement. Both of you have been incredible and supportive, and I can't thank you enough. Briefly, because I really don't want to take up a ton of time, and I know other offices deserve your attention right now. I am Tara Jacobs. I am the governor's counselor for District 8, which is 102 cities and towns that includes Springfield and goes literally half the state geographically is my district. If you're watching this, I am probably your governor's counselor. And most people still don't know what that is. So I'll briefly just say it's a constitutional office. It's empowered to confirm every judge in the entire state for lifetime appointments to the age of 70, all of our clerk magistrates, the parole board members, and if the governor wants to grant pardons or commutations, that's with advice and consent of council. So we are a check and a balance on the governor, mostly focused on our justice system, and the decisions that come through the governor's council literally impact every community across the state. And I serve in this role with an extra lens focused on Western Mass justice, but I do seek to shift our justice system towards one that is truly justice for all, that is truly about equity and course correcting the systemic injustices baked into our justice system. And so I hope to continue to serve you for another 2 years. And the primary on September 1st is a challenged one that will decide who your next governor's counselor is. And I hope you will vote for me and support me in it. We talked about telling 10 friends last time, and I think that really is what I'm asking people to vote for me, but also to spread the word, because literally hardly anyone knows what this role is or understands how important it is. And so you can really do a lot in educating your friends, your family, your social media network in what this role is, how important it is, and why you support me continuing to do the work. And that's basically what I came to say. I'm launching my daughter to college, first move in on Saturday. So we are frantically packing up a car with everything one could possibly think they might need at the dorm. But if anyone has any questions before I go from before or whatever, but I don't want to completely just run out the door. But that's really what I came to share today.
Daryl, are you talking? Because we can't hear you. So
I think you sabotaged my microphone, Tracy. I'm blaming you.
See your hands moving.
Yeah. Quick recap. Once should you win this election and you return to perform your duties, what should people expect? You talked about it the other day. Just give us a recap. What should the expectations be? So as we talk about accountability and holding our elected officials accountable, what should people expect? What should they look forward to?
Yeah, I intend to continue doing the role in the same way that I have, with expansion, because one thing that's become just really more clear during this election cycle is that I still have a lot of work to do in terms of connecting with even more diverse community groups than I have been. And so I've made so many great connections with people who are like, why didn't you come to, come to my community, come to our community meeting, my goal is to continue to actively recruit the kind of judges we want to see, do my work towards, persuade as I can to have the governor nominate the kinds of folks for Western Mass that I'd like to see on the bench, who are representative, who are really well informed on the issues facing our communities, and do my work similarly to how I have been. But on the community level, I really hope to build on this amazing momentum during the last few months and continue that as a regular, ever expanding network of being out in community talking to people, because genuinely the work I do is so informed by the experiences of community members who, everyone has a touch point with our courts in some way, be it themselves personally or through family. And, hearing the experiences people have had, hearing the concerns people have is so important to my work. So that would be the main change that you could expect, is just diversifying. Because I always am out in community, but I kind of go to the same places again and again. And at this point, they kind of know what I'm doing and know how to reach me if they need to. But I think there's so many people who still have no idea how we get our judges and how we get all the other things that council does. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's fantastic. I definitely will be voting for you, and so will many people in my family, many of my friends. And I support you because I feel like you do have an equitable lens, and that's what we need when judges are being appointed, when pardons are being looked at in communions. Okay. I think I said
commutations.
I was like communions.
My brain went sideways. I was like,
that's church. Commutations. And so I definitely support you. And we wish you the best. We wish your daughter the best going to college. And don't cry your face off. Keep the face till after September 1st. And we wish you the best and hope you win this, Tara.
Thank you guys so much. All right. I hope to come back victorious soon, and we'll talk more Justice Matters.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Tara.
Thank you.
All right, so for our viewers, that was Tara Jacobs. She's running for Governance Council, re-election. Anything you want to say, Trace?
Just, we got to look for individuals that are going to have our best interests at heart. And I'm speaking as a woman and as a person of color. We need to look at what we see in the candidates currently, how they act, how they react to women and people of color. This is just from my perspective because I am a Black woman. And we need to support those that we really feel in our heart are going to have our best interests at heart. So I feel that way about Tara, and I wish her all the success. What about you, D?
I agree with everything you said. I guess I'm speaking as a black man who has five beautiful black daughters, a mother, sisters. No, I'm only messing with you. No, I agree. I think we should always be on the lookout for people who are going to represent us, advocate for us, speak on our behalf, and always keep our needs at the front of their agenda and not just a personal agenda. I think that's critical of looking for people who are willing to work with other folks regardless of whatever the situation may be. And I think this year in Springfield, I think this has been a really good year. I think it's really been competitive. I think all the candidates and
Yeah.
most of the offices are very viable and capable with untapped potential. So, and speaking of someone who's viable with untapped potential and constantly moving forward, we're going to bring up our next guest. Would you like to introduce?
So yes, I would introduce Nicole Coakley. She is running for Massachusetts 11th Hamden District. And me and Nicole have been in this game for a long time now with all of the events and forums and things that we've done together in the community. We are glad to have you here, Dr. Nicole Coakley. You finally finished. It was a long
Oh
road.
my God.
Put some respect on my title,
Put some
Doctor.
respect.
I earned that.
You earned it because,
Yes, you did.
wow, with your children, you still kept them at the forefront of your life and the community. I don't know how you did it all because you got 5 children, right? But you have your extended children also that
Yep.
were always in your house and always
Oh my
it
God.
was a safe haven for so many. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
If you don't mind, for those who do not know, please introduce yourself. Tell them who you are, why you're running, what office you're seeking.
Awesome. Yep. So, hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Nicole Denise Coakley. I am running for state representative in the 11th Hampton District. I just want everybody to know that I'm not just running for a title. I'm not just running to be running. I'm running because it's a need within our community and it's time for change. I'm a mother of 5. I have 2 boys and 3 girls, ages 8, 17, 18. 23 and 22.
But you
My
went from 8 to 17.
I know the whole gap. My oldest daughter was just like, I don't know what made you have this last one. I'm just like, what? So they spent the summer together, so they done got on each other nerve the whole time. Enough. Yeah, so it was a big. I was still working in school.
Mm.
I love to come into my life. For me, I'm an educator. 20 years in early childhood. I started there while I was in teacher assistant at Morris Professional Child Care Services, and then I worked my way up, went to school and got did early ed a little in early ed, but I just wanted to work my way up. So I am director two. I have a director two certification for early education and care. So talk about somebody that knows about how child care affects a family and not being able to pay it. It's Nicole Coakley trying to figure out how do we give them a little discount because this is expensive. So I understand that. I'm also a mental health professional. I am a clinician. So I have my associates in law enforcement, my bachelor's in human service, my master's in psychology and counseling, and then I just finished my doctorate in business administration with a concentration in organizational leadership. And my dissertation is on women of color and political leadership roles and the effects of work-life balance. I'm a longtime community advocate, as you know. I got into politics because of you, Tracy, and you know that. I remember you was just like, you should run. I said, who? Absolutely not. The devil is a liar. I don't want to do that. But then you gave me that push, and you was just like, get your feet wet, and just see what happens and see if you like it. And when I tell you that you gave me that push and that drive, it's because of you that I'm into politics, and I will never
Aw,
downplay that. And I would always
thank
say that. And
you.
when I say when I ran for Ward 5. I appreciate you and Daryl Moss for endorsing me and being there for me, because you guys went hard to help me even understand that role of being a city council, because I wasn't really into it. I just knew I was helping on your campaign and helping. I was just helping. I'm a helper.
You
That's
are
what
a
I knew I
helper.
was doing. So now look at me now, because of you
Got you.
too. You push me to keep going. I don't like something and not finish, and this is my shin. I found my calling, like, okay, it's to help people and do what's right. So that's exactly why I'm still in this game and trying to get it done. And regardless of what, I'm gonna make it and change our community. So again, for me, I have a lot of lived experience. I worked alongside a lot of families that are trying to navigate this thing called life. And I really understand the struggle that they're going to. When you look at the rising costs of living, it's ridiculous. When you look at the mental health services, it's ridiculous. When you look at child care, housing instability, a lot of the educational opportunities, because I am a higher ed learner. I am somebody that understands, like, dog, I can't afford college, and taking out these student loans, having $200,000 in student loans is ridiculous. But you really want to educate yourself and get a better, good paying job. So why would you stop? But then is how can our legislators do better when it comes to helping individuals like us? Because I'm not just talking about our traditional 18-year-olds that are graduating from high school going off to college. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about us that are working mothers, working fathers, that are wanting to have a career change and go and wants to go back into the educational realm of things to educate ourselves, because we weren't able to do it because we were busy having kids and taking care of our family. So I'm here, and we need representation in Springfield that's going to be there and deliver results and do needs to and advocate for our why individuals that just want to hold a title. We don't have time for that anymore. We don't need you just because you want that elected position. We don't need that anymore. We need individuals in place.
We can't hear you.
In this great power.
You broke up a little bit. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I said that we need people that are really going to bring change. And what much more better than to put a woman in power?
Women in power, go women.
So if
Um,
you, oh, go ahead, Tracy. No, go ahead.
no. So if you were elected, what should voters expect from you during your first year in office, and how should they hold you accountable?
I mean, for me, I'm always accessible. When I tell you my cell phone number is everywhere across the city of Springfield and everywhere else, it's not going to change. I make sure that I'm accessible and I'm there to help people. We have to look at individuals for their professional experience, the work that they've done with their lived experience, the work they've done in our community, education, and a lot of, I think, different things comes to saying, I want you to be my next state representative. We got to stop with saying, that's my friend. I just want them to be there so I can have somebody there. No, we don't have time for that. We need to have qualified individuals. And when I say qualified, I'm not even just talking about educational wise. I want people that understand the needs of our community, because they know their children have to walk these streets in the city of Springfield. So we have to do what's right. I understand how it is to be a single mom, raising children while working, pursuing education, serving my community, and still trying to manage the rising costs for a working family. I understand that. We can't have continue to have individuals making decisions, creating policies that's not for us regular people that it is affecting. We need more of us at the table so we can play a part in making these decisions. My professional background in mental health and education has also shown me how interconnected our challenges are here in the city of Springfield. Housing affects mental health. When we talk about gun violence, it ain't the gun that's the problem, it's the individual behind the gun. There's some mentally, they need help. They don't understand. Sometimes they don't even understand what's going on in their head until it's too late. You already reacted to something that you should have thought about before you went out to do it. So how do we help these individuals? Housing affects mental health. Education affects our economic mobility. And when we look at childcare, that affects whether parents can actually work or they're going to be out unhoused because they can't work, because they can't afford childcare, because they can't leave the child home alone, because they don't have the resources that they need, because we're limited on the funds that we bring here to the city of Springfield. Even public transportation affects whether someone can get a job. Everybody can't afford a car. I can barely afford my car and my car insurance. I say they got to be sick in the head paying all this car insurance. I understand. So when you talk about putting somebody as a state representative to speak for the 11th Hampton district, it's me.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Everything you said, I agree with 100%. How does that translate? How do you feel that would translate at the State House up in Boston in terms of what would be your legislative priorities, and what would you do to, when we talk about healthcare, community advocacy, organizational leadership, family life, how does that translate into a sustained plan for housing stability, behavioral health services, youth opportunity from a legislative perspective? Have you given that thought? I know you have, but what's your
I
vision?
absolutely have. And you know what a lot of people have said? I heard somebody say, I support her, but I can't support her because I gotta be connected with somebody with power. What that mean? You get what I'm saying?
Well,
That don't even make no sense. So when you say
but
you gotta be connected with somebody with power, if you wasn't connected with them before, why you think they care about you now? People don't think about stuff like
but
that. People just speak to speak. So when you look at me, somebody, when we talk about affordability and the housing, Massachusetts is facing an affordability crisis. And in Springfield, families are feeling it. So I will definitely support legislation that increases affordable housing in the city of Springfield. We got to strengthen our tenant protections. We got to make sure we are looking to expand pathways to home ownership, not just expand it, make sure that we are walking individuals through it. A lot of times we say you need to go over here or go read this or go and log on and figure this out. No, some people need their hands to be held and walk them through it because they can do it, but everybody don't understand how to get it done because they either got to get done. Our seniors on fixed incomes, they should not be trying to struggle and figure out how they're going to pay their mortgage or their rent, no incentive, no tax break. There's nothing out there to help them. So we got to make sure that we're giving municipalities meaningful tools out here to address rapidly rising housing costs. When I look at all of this stuff, legislative wise, I know, yes, start from the bottom, honey, but it ain't gonna take me long to get to the top because I know how to advocate for what we need in our community. So again, when we look at the rising costs here for families, we're struggling. When we look at education and workforce development, we are struggling. So when we go and look at these policies that are being created, I know how to advocate and speak up.
okay,
All right.
Tracy.
I heard you mention tenant protection, and I hear tenant protection a lot, but I'm a landlord, and from a landlord perspective, not all tenants are created equal. And so I wanted to know, like, would you be a fair legislator and look at both sides of the coin and see how we could come? I mean, how would you do that? Like, there has to be a middle ground. Do you
Absolutely.
agree with that?
I absolutely agree with you because I know a lot of landlords and that I'm a renter myself, but I'm a good renter. So when we look at a lot of renters, some of them are just like, I'm not even going to do this. I'm going to tear this up and that they can't do nothing because I got this. So what are they going to do? Yes, I strongly believe and I know that there are not really great tenants out there. So when we talk about tenant protection, we got to make sure that we are holding our tenants accountable too, because it's not just the landlord. Landlords are doing their job of providing us housing that we need to make sure we're taking care of. So absolutely, I will be a fair legislator. I'm going to call it like it is and make sure that I speak and hold individuals accountable, not just the landlords.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it definitely has to be fair. And I think bringing landlords and tenants to the table to really discuss, because it's bad on both sides and it's good on both sides, right?
Right.
It's not all one way or all the other way. So
Hmm.
it just has to be a balance. So I agree with that. Um Darlene Muhammad said frequent train service to the eastern part of the state. I don't know if that's a question or a comment. Frequent train service to the east. Oh, I think she might be talking about West East Rail.
Uh-huh.
Maybe. How do you feel about that?
We need more transportation, so I would have to look into it. I don't want to answer a question if I don't have the correct answer. So, Miss, you said Charlene or Darlene, I will look
Darlene.
into it. But if
Okay.
it is bringing some transportation to help with individuals that need to transport themselves, and it's helping our economic stability here in the city of Springfield and bringing jobs, I'm all for it. But let me do my homework, honey.
All right.
What's your position on everyone's talking about public safety, gang violence, youth involvement. We haven't had strong legislative leadership since Senator Jared Barrios. And I remember Ryan McCullum introduced me to him years back when I was at MLK. And then when we first launched Awake, Cheryl Rivera made a quick phone call and got us $100,000 to do the work that Awake was doing. It's the part that people don't often talk about. Would you make, that a priority? I know in terms of earmarks that come back to the area, we very rarely see earmarks that impact social development in terms of social programs. We've lost a number of nonprofits in our community over the last 10 years. Quite just about all of them, with the exception of Family Center and MLK, are gone. What would you make that a priority in terms of making sure that type of programming is funded? Street worker programs with guys who like Desi Jackson used to be out on the streets meeting young people where they were at. Would you make that a priority, and why?
Absolutely. I am a mother. I got two sons. Absolutely. Making public safety a priority in the city of Springfield and everywhere is important. So, yes, I definitely agree with it. But I also will have to tell you that when we look at earmarks and bringing it to certain organizations, we have to hold them accountable too. Who follows up to make sure that these organizations are doing what they're supposed to do? Who makes sure they collect this data information to say, how many lives have you touched? How many kids have you affected? How much, what have you gotten done within the past year? Come to the table and do a report out to our community members so they have a better understanding of what you're doing, what your organization is doing. I understand what Brother Johnny's organization is doing. He definitely helped these individuals, especially those coming out of incarceration. There's some other organizations that I understand, but there's some of them when we look at the Shannon Grant, and I'm just like, why they keep getting all this money? What are they doing? We have to stop the favoritism and do what's right by our community. So yes, public safety will be at the top.
Okay. Looking at the side, Nicole Red says, I'm putting them out there. What are the officials doing about the old hospital on State Street? That's a municipal issue. I think we're talking legislative right now, but if you want to address that, we can do it. She also says 3 gun violence centers. I'm not familiar with that, but sounds like a good idea.
I think she's talking about Brother Johnny's Family Against Violence and the Daryl Jenkins Resource Center.
Okay, that's cool. And she says, stop and ask real questions.
I think she was responding to what Nicole was saying when Nicole was talking about we got to hold the organizations accountable as well. Okay. So let's ask real questions like that. We got to hold the organization accountable. But we also got to look into those earmarks that are being distributed and make sure they're going to real organizations. I think Awake is still getting earmarks.
Okay. So I agree with the accountability side, and I think when we bring them to the table, I think a lot of us should talk about how being underfunded impacts their programming as well. That's why I asked the question. But great response. Western Mass argues that. I'm sorry. Were you saying something, Tracy?
I didn't say anything. Is that you, Nicole?
Who's that?
I know. So I know she has to. And I just wanted to in like the public safety things, but they had something yesterday during city council, one of the city council committee meetings, to talk about what they're doing with that. So I would definitely tell her to reach out.
Yes, we did. We had a public safety subcommittee meeting that was chaired by Jerry Martin and Malo Brown, actually, and him were working on the Vibra Hospital, asking what we could do because of the absentee landlord. And it looks like the apocalypse over there. And it looks very dangerous, especially at night. I would be scared for any one to walk by there, male or female, young or old, because
I feel like I saw security. Like, why we got this is weird. So is there any way possible that we put more pressure on these landlords to give them? I mean, I don't got to talk about it and figure out, how do we say you got at least 2 to 3 years to figure out what you're doing with this property, or we got to start applying pressure, because we shouldn't have our area looking like that when.
Well, we lost her a little bit. Just to follow up on what she's saying. Counselor Zeta Govan got an ordinance that is with the law department looking into how we can reverse permits. Actually, we give, like you were saying, we give landlords a certain amount of time, and then we have the opportunity to reverse permits. So that is something that we're working on. They were supposed to sell the building to the city for $1, but it got held up with the historic commission because there's a little piece at the top that's historic. I want to take it down, make it a memorial, so that doesn't have to be the holdup in the future. I don't know. They probably get mad at me for saying that, but that's what I would do. And because something has to be done with that area. But yes, Councilor Govan does have an earmark. I know that Councilor Martin and Councilor Brown asked Ken Shea if there's something else that can be done. He's supposed to be going back to the law department and seeing what else we could do. So thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Nikki, for those.
What is your vision for Springfield's relationship with state government?
I mean, for me, we have to make sure that it's very open. We don't have a good relationship when it comes to stuff like that. I mean, when we look at accessibility, transparency, and a lot of the measurable actions for the city of Springfield, we don't have that. So we have to look at our constituents and have open office hours. Make sure we have an office there that they know where to go to. Like I've already talked to a lot of my team and say, once we get in this office, honey, we're gonna make sure that we are taking care. I just want to work with individuals within our community so we can meet our community needs. So we have to make sure that we have a better relationship when it comes to putting somebody in office out on Beacon Hill and having individuals here in the city of Springfield, because I wouldn't know everything. And the only way I know a lot of things is because I got lived experience or someone is reaching out to me and saying they need help. So we got to make sure that we're also providing our legislative updates to our community, explaining all these bills. A lot of people don't know how to read these bills. They don't understand. People, like a lot of our legislators could say, oh yeah, I co-sponsored this. But what does that mean? When you read it, that don't even make no sense. And just because you said that, stop. And a lot of we can't be okay with that. So yes, we got to make sure they're doing their job. And don't tell me you co-sponsor something that's going to sit there for 3 years that you're not even going to look back at and make sure it's moving. We got to make sure that our state representative is doing their job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I like that answer so much because I just started learning how to write bills in my other job, and it is so much. It is a lot. And trying to understand, and there's so many little intricate details in the bill that some parts of the bill might not be benefiting the community. But if you don't know how to read it or what the language is, you're going to miss that. So I like that answer a lot. I just wanted to, Nikki, get off of the Vibra Hospital because it is in legislation with the city. We can't just take it down. We will face legal challenges if we did something like that, not being the owner, but it is definitely in court right now. We're not sitting on our hands doing nothing with the Vibra building. One thing we can do is maybe groom it, and then we could charge that bill to the landlord later, like we did over there on the Union Street property. But things are getting done. People got to tune in too. Just putting information out there, just saying things like nothing is happening. We have city council meetings about it. Information has been in the paper about it. So I'm just going to encourage people to do their homework and see what is happening with it, and then be a voice and help us as well. Like help us keep communicating with the mayor's office, letting them know that this is an eyesore and is dangerous because the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
It's the oil for you.
I never heard that one, but wait.
Okay, it's gonna be something that grease it up, greasing, make it slick.
If you want grease, okay. And then it just really quickly because I think some people they mix municipal legislation with state legislation. Can you talk a little bit about what is state? And I'm going to ask Michael the same thing because he's running against Angelo Pupolo. Just talk about the role of a state legislator, because I love the fact that you said people need a better understanding of the process up there, and I agree. I would love to see, whether it's you or whoever gets in office, to hold quarterly or at least biannual meetings, giving people a state of the state, a Western Mass report or something because the 30 years I was
Absolutely.
in Springfield, I didn't see it. So
Listen, I agree with it because listen, we got to make sure that our residents understand where their tax dollars are going. We cannot keep them out of the conversation is here. And I'm going to ask these tough questions that nobody want to ask, but they thinking it. So I have no problem doing that. So when you look at a state representative out there on Beacon Hill, I am responsible for speaking on behalf of Springfield, Massachusetts, and making sure that the resources, the funding is being brought back here. When you look at the amount of money that them getting, honey, we are. So why we ain't getting it too? I don't got a problem advocating and speaking on behalf of Springfield, Massachusetts.
okay. And for those who don't know, a state legislator is elected to represent a district in the state legislature and to make decisions about state laws, not city, state laws, the state budget, and statewide policies. The basic responsibilities are to make laws, decide how the state money is spent, um, and to just go represent constituents, serve on committees, advocate for the district. For those who don't know, so there's a lot that happens in Boston that impacts us, and we hear more about people, personalities, and titles than we do the actual work. So I'm going to say publicly, I appreciate your response in terms of what we need to do in terms of educating the folks, putting accountability mechanisms in place. I just think that's phenomenal. I don't often hear that from candidates, and we interview folks down here just like we do up there. So thank you for that. Tracy, anything? I'm all good with questions.
No, well, I think it'll be great to bring Michael on because he's running for a state position as well. Right. We might as well bring him on, continue the conversation. Nicole, you could stay on if you have to go. We do understand, but we love this conversation. I love some of the answers that you're putting out here, and I don't know if Ipsita is talking to me or if you're talking to Nicole Coakley. So if you could just clarify that with your question, and we'll get that answered. Because I have an answer for you, and she does too. I know her. No, we learn together.
People reaching out isn't really a practical strategy. Most residents don't know what they don't know. You would need to meet people where they are to hear the issues and bring them to the table. What are your plans for showing up in communities?
Oh, I already show up, and I have no problem answering that. Then I'll let Tracy answer it. So Nicole Coakley already shows up. I've been showing up. I'm still showing up, and I will continue to show up. I don't just pop up on the scene when it's election season. I'm not coming out to knock doors because I need your vote so I can be here for 2 years and not do nothing. I'm not here for that. I'm about getting things done that needs to be done here. So with or without the title of state representative or city council, honey, Nicole Coakley is still doing the job. Yes, I understand, and I know how to meet people where they are. I meet people where they are. And if you look at the people on my team, I built them from the ground up when they were at their lowest, and look at them now. They have flourished, and they're doing amazing things. I'm here to mentor and help people. My passion is to help individuals and not judge them or look down on them. So regardless of what your issue is, I will always be accessible to help you.
Dr. Coakley, can you talk a little bit about your body of work? Because you've done quite a few things over the last, God knows how many years. I think that may answer the question better. Talk about your body of work. A lot of people, they run for office and they just appear one day and they say, I'm for the people. And I did work on almost every level in the city of Springfield. And there are people, I'm like, you did what? I have no idea so talk about your body of work, if you don't mind. Just take a few minutes, and I'm going to jump and give Michael an opportunity. If Cedar says all of you, if you can, please. I'm not going to talk about how I get out and touch people. We'll talk for hours.
I will at the end, but we got to get to Michael.
In office. If you don't know me, you just don't know me. But Dr. Coakley, we're talking to you right now. Please go.
Yes, absolutely. I do a lot here. I am the admin for Mason Square C3 Policing. I'm the former chair of Hampden County Commission on the Status of Women and Girls. So I have done a lot of legislative works when it comes to reproductive rights and speaking and getting things done for women and girls. I am I also helped organize Unity in the Community, which was an event back during the George Floyd incident where we had our young children out here in the community kind of have a basketball event and be able to have that intimate conversation with police officers, trying to bridge that gap between our young adults here and the police officers to let them know that it's okay to trust them. Not all police officers are bad. So how do we fix that? And that was a way of trying to kind of combat that and kind of help our youth here in the community understand, and a lot of them were interested in becoming police officers. I am somebody that looks at what is going on and say, okay, we got to think fast. We got to do something right now. So I'm also your 2025 Western Mass Remarkable Woman, and that is not a title that I take lightly. That is because somebody saw in me and saw the work that I've done, and they said that is our girl right there. And was able to go out to Hollywood and just be able to meet 124 other remarkable women from across the world, and it was amazing. When you look at somebody like me that can navigate life and still help her community and try to figure out how do I get work-life balance under control, that's me. I do the work here in the city of Springfield. And also, if you look up Nicole Coakley, you will see a lot of the other works that's been posted on there about me.
Okay. All right.
Very good, very good. She didn't say a lot of the other things that she's done. Like, she's been the admin for the Mason Square C3 for many years now, but very actively involved in the events that we put on. Also, was not this year because she was running, but formerly a member of the Juneteenth Jubilee Committee, which is a free event to people in the community. But she worked on many other community events. I think probably almost every community event that happens in the city of Springfield, Nicole has some part of it. So she didn't mention all that, but I just wanted to give a little plug because she's definitely out here putting in work.
It's definitely hard trying to tell everybody everything I've done. And I'm just like, and when they tell me, you remember me? You helped me during the house fire. And I'm just like, oh, God. I don't remember, but I get the job done.
And you organize food during the hurricane for Jamaica. Like, you just see a need, you jump in. You can't remember it all. I understand, but that's who you are.
Food drive for our seniors, the Pillars of the Community Award for our seniors. The community kickball event. I do a lot.
Day brunches. I mean, just a lot. But we need to jump over to Michael, right? Nicole, we love talking to you, but we definitely need a whole hour for you.
I'm about to say, to sum it up, I mean, you have a really strong presence in the community, that you're looking to serve. You're already serving in that capacity without the title. So I say kudos to you, and I wish you the best of luck. We have one more person to get to, but you can hang in, jump in, wherever. Let's talk to him.
I'm gonna give Michael his time. Nope, I'm gonna give Michael his time. I done cut into it too much time, but I just wanted to tell everybody, remember Nicole.
You might learn something. You might learn something about what he's doing because you both are running for the same seat. Is that right?
No. She's running. Right.
No, he's the 12. But I'm saying the same kind of title, right? Representative.
Yeah, state representative.
Yeah. I'm gonna let him have his time. I'm gonna let him have his time. I love you guys. Thank you for having me. Thank you for everybody that was watching. And don't forget Nicole Coakley, September 1st at them polls. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for joining.
All right.
All right. Michael.
Hello.
How are you?
Last but not least, we had to save the men for last. I intentionally did that.
You're all good. I enjoyed getting to listen. It's all right. You gotta save the best for last sometimes.
Michael, tell everybody. Oh, there you go, Tracy. I'm gonna be quiet.
Oh, all right. Well, I am 27 years old. I'm running for office for the first time. I grew up in Wilbraham, but I've lived all over the country and internationally as well. I was born in Los Angeles. Then my family moved to Cleveland. Then my family moved to Springfield because my dad got a job at Smith & Wesson back around 2006. And we moved to Wilbraham, but my dad had the job in Springfield. And when I was a senior in high school, I got the opportunity to study abroad in Germany on a federal scholarship program. And the year I did that was 2016. And it was a life-changing experience in many ways. But one of the ways was, I was meeting a lot of people who had immigrated from all across the world to come to Germany, crossing the Sahara or crossing the Mediterranean to be there. And, I was meeting people younger than me who had lived through that. Hey, Ray. And so being there, especially that year, I've reflected a lot on the privileges I have had in my life, and it made me want to get involved in government and politics because I could see how much it mattered in terms of the impacts it has on people's lives. And so when I returned to the States, I went to Loyola University Chicago. I studied political science and international relations there. I founded a chapter of the Indivisible movement and organized other students at my university to go canvassing in the city for progressive candidates. And when I graduated from Loyola, I went out to Tulsa, Oklahoma, taught 10th grade English down there as a part of AmeriCorps, graduated from that program, returned to Chicago, got my master's degree in anthropology, and then I came back to Western Mass, and I've since coming back, I've worked as a freelancer and also for Google as a subcontractor, and for the past couple months, I've been focusing full time on this campaign. I decided to run because I feel like we are, living through some very interesting times. I like politics, but I don't like being at the center of it. You know what I mean?
Well, you gotta like being at the center, Michael. You gotta be at the center if you win.
It's a little bit nicer when you can, backseat drive.
Yeah, I agree.
I went to go lobby Representative Angela Pupolo. So I'm running for the 12th Hampden District. For those of you who don't know the districts and their geography by heart,
that's what I was gonna ask.
You terrible uneducated people. It covers all of Wilbraham and then parts of East Longmeadow and Munson, and in Springfield it covers 16 acres, East Forest Park, and a little bit of Indian Orchard. So. I'm running against Representative Angela Pupolo. He's been in this seat since 2006. Well, 2007, he was elected for the first time in 2006. But the last time anybody challenged him in the primary was actually 2006. And so I went to go lobby him on single-payer universal health care in February of 2025. At that point, I was, looking at more ways to get involved in activism and in the community. I'd worked on political campaigns here in Springfield before. I worked for Yolanda Cancel when she ran for mayor, and then also for Tahira Amatul Wadud when she ran for Congress against Congressman Neal in 2018. And so after coming back here, I tapped into those old networks, and that landed me at the State House lobbying Representative Pupolo in February 2025. I was lobbying him on single-payer universal health care. He wasn't at the meeting, but one of his staffers was there, and they told us he liked the idea but wasn't willing to go on the record supporting it. That really bothered me because as a politician now and hopefully as a future elected official, I believe that politicians should fight for the ideas they believe in, or they should be earnest with their constituents and tell them why they don't like them. But I don't like playing games with elected officials where I feel like they're trying to tell me what I want to hear and not take action on it. So I started looking into his record at that point, and I saw a lot of things that were alarming to me. He had voted 3 times against the millionaire's tax. He had voted to incarcerate trans people for up to 5 years for using bathrooms or locker rooms aligned with their gender identity.
Michael, you're saying a whole lot. I need you to slow it down because I want people. You're saying some really great things, but I need you to slow
about time.
No, don't worry about time.
Don't worry about time. We can stay out.
Don't rush. You have plenty of time. We control this.
Because like you're saying some things that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
And I need the things that he voted on to really sink in.
Right.
So
I want to repeat for the audience.
Yes.
I want you to take it back, bring it back just a little bit. And start again with why you're running, and then everything regarding.
Yeah, why are you running?
You're saying some phenomenal things, and I don't want anyone to miss it. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm running because I think that this is what the moment we're living through calls for. People need to take action against these systems that are responsible for putting people like Trump in power. I don't think Trump is the problem in and of himself, even though he is a major problem. But he is the product of a society and a political system that could allow something like that to happen. And it's not just Republicans. We have the Democratic Party itself is not fighting for people the way it should be. And so when I came back to Western Mass, I started thinking about politics here. I mean, I've been thinking about it for a long time. But when we look at the CD1 race with Whalen, I was part of a group that was trying to find somebody to run for that seat, and we didn't find Whalen. He ended up finding us, but we were progressive activists, and I was thinking overall about the strategy of the whole thing. How can progressives bring our cause forward in Western Mass? And having worked on Tahira's campaign and watching what happened to Morse, I felt like the progressives have been banging their heads against the brick wall with Neal. And so I started thinking that we needed to challenge as many of these conservative Democrats locally as possible. And so, it wasn't that it had to be Pupolo. I don't have a fixation on Pupolo or this specific seat, even though, I'm privileged to run for it. But, I went to go lobby him, and I started looking into his record, and what I found appalled me, and I decided somebody needs to run. So yeah, I when I was looking into his record, like I said, I found that he had voted to incarcerate trans people for up to 5 years for using bathrooms or locker rooms aligned with their gender identity. He did that in 2016. He also voted 3 times against the millionaire's tax, which I'm sure, if you asked him about today, he'd be very happy about. He'd be glad to take credit for the money for the PVTA and for community college. But, I think that we should actually raise taxes on the rich even higher than the 9%. And for a wealth tax, not just the tax on incomes, because people earn their incomes, but there's a lot of people who collect, money from the stock market. They can take loans against the balance of their stock portfolio and, dodge income tax laws quite easily. So, yeah, and I look back at the history. I saw nobody had decided to run against him since 2006 in the primary. I looked at the numbers, and I thought I could canvass that many doors, and I've been at it. I personally have done 7,000 doors. My campaign has done thousands more. And we've built a broad coalition with groups from all across the state and the city. I'm the first DSA endorsed candidate in Springfield.
What's DSA?
Democratic Socialists of America.
Okay.
So, yeah, same group that supports Mom Donnie and AOC. I'm the first DSA endorsed candidate to exist in Springfield city politics.
So Ipsita said, interesting insights and background. I'm curious how you think about priorities for Springfield. Your region is diverse. How do you plan on representing everyone equitably?
That's a great question. My region is very diverse. I try to spend a lot of face time with my constituents, first off and foremost. If elected, I plan to continue canvassing. I've pledged to have at least 2 town halls a year for the people in my district. They haven't had any in 20 years. I'm consistently trying to seek ways to get myself in front of my constituents and talk to them and hear from them and learn about how I can help. But I also, have priorities that I think place equitability at the heart. I want to end the war on drugs. I think that is a failed policy. It's a public health crisis. And it's an excuse we use to incarcerate Black and brown people, and not just them, but poor people in general. When I was getting my master's degree, I studied critical race theory, and you read the books on that. It says that white people use drugs at a higher rate than Black and brown people, but we have Black and brown people incarcerated at a higher rate than white people. That's shouldn't be news to a lot of people, but if we take a hard look at these systems, I think that there's a lot of things that we need to change. And Massachusetts has the opportunity to be a beacon in the darkness that is 21st century America. We could be a progressive leader, but instead we're governed in a very conservative way, even though we have supermajorities of Democrats in the state house and state senate, et cetera.
So you studied critical race theory, and that kind of like piqued my interest because it was something that was kind of like made up. So what did you study about it? Critical race theory was...
There's several books that
Okay.
They'll refer you to. There's an author named Bell Hooks. You should read her works on it. I can't cite them all off the top of my head, but if you get on Google, you can find the foundational books that underlie the theory.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So talk about your representation in Springfield. I know like you're out of the Wilbraham area, and sometimes like when I think of Pupelo, the representation, he was always silent in terms of Springfield matters. Whether it's social issues, whether it's socio-political, economic development, nice guy, but never seen him when it came down. You never heard his voice. When tragedy takes place, it's almost as if Springfield is not a part of his district. How do you plan to do things differently?
Well, I have sought very strong connections in Springfield. I'm a member of Neighbor to Neighbor. My campaign manager lives in the 11th Hampton district, is from Springfield. I live in Springfield. I know Representative Pupelo does too, and he's a former city councilor. So, his absence on those issues, I guess it doesn't surprise me, but it's even more notable because of that. But I like to be present. I
Okay.
think that Springfield, politically, if you're going to be the man in this seat, you need to be very responsive to Springfield, because Springfield makes up about 55% of my electorate. So, it's not just like a nice to have; it's a political necessity for me, to be honest. And I spend most of my time in Springfield every single day because of that. So
I must
I
say,
am
Michael,
watching.
I've seen you on this political campaign more than I have ever seen Pupilo. Like, I might see Pupilo at certain events, but they're usually not community of color events at all. I don't recall him coming to any community of color events. I don't remember seeing him a lot. Yeah, but so thank you for being present. But one thing that we would like to know is, what are your legislative priorities that you would champion?
Of course, I got a long list. So how much time do you have?
We're gonna give you some extra time because we gave Nicole some of yours. Hang in there with us, crowd, because y'all know we're always a little bit longer.
Yeah, I'll keep it relatively short, but I have two big issues I want to tackle. Well, number one is political corruption, and number two is affordability. I named political corruption as number one because it shades all the policies that get created, and we can't fix a lot of the core issues with affordability unless we tackle political corruption. So to that point, I want to ban stock trading in the state legislature. Right now, Representative Pupilo owns stock in Eversource and Comcast. I am sure he is not the only representative who owns single stocks like that in corporations that are charged with regulating. How can we have good policies if our politicians are doing insider trading? We can't. I also want to see the audit of the state legislature enacted. I think that is a good kind of litmus test for whether or not you have a representative who cares about democracy, because that is an issue where that is an issue where the House leadership is on one side and the people are on the other. And I think we need legislators with the conviction to be able to stand up to House leadership and recognize the results of something like a ballot question that got 72% of the vote and go with the majority of the people. Because if they don't, you have a crisis of legitimacy, which helps make the argument for dictators and people like Trump. Because if in a state that Democrats control absolutely, they're not listening to the results of a ballot question, then do they really respect democracy, and are these the people that we can trust to protect our democracy? So that's something I stand very strongly on. And then to affordability, well, I'll name number three for transparency. I also am for the public funding of elections. That would be enough. That these three are all my policies are going to be hard ones, but if I can get one of them, it'll make a substantive difference in people's lives. And public funding of elections is important because right now our politics is dripping in corporate money and billionaire money. If we want to level the playing field for people who are not wealthy candidates to be able to run, or very well connected with elite circle candidates, then we need to do public funding of elections. And then for affordability, I support single payer universal health care. I think that I support MassCare's plan specifically. It would actually bring costs down for most people. We'd be getting rid of the private insurance market, which essentially acts as a middleman, and thus it causes a lot of bloat. And if we got rid of it, it would save us a lot of money as a society and as governments and as individuals. And then I also want to raise taxes on the very wealthiest people in Massachusetts. I think, like I said, 9% is a nice start. But when I meet people who are 75 and 80 on a daily or weekly basis who are still working because property taxes are forcing them out of their home, how can I look them in the eye, as somebody who wants to be a public servant, and say, well, I think you should pay more instead of the billionaires or the corporations.
Exactly.
And the last thing I'll highlight on that is I want to make our utility companies publicly owned. Right now we have for-profit corporations with stocks to sell. So, it creates a very bad environment if what you care about in your utility companies is affordability. And if I look at how Holyoke and Chicopee and Westfield are managed, we see utility companies there that are municipally owned, and their rates are much lower than what we have here in Springfield. So, and my cat's attacking me right now in the setup.
Oh, you're very educated on these topics, but I want to see if you're educated on some of the topics that's definitely impacting the residents in the city of Springfield. I'm gonna start with Jacqueline because she put hers there first, but then before I pause, I'm gonna mention what I'm sorry, Jacinta said. Thank you, because I was about to mess that up. But Jacqueline said, I'm very interested in your support of the disabled community. This administration is threatening vital support to this community and wanting to roll back the progress made for community integration and support on education. That moved. Hold on. Support on education, social services, and community. Supported independent living. I think it's supported.
Yeah, supported independent living. What is your platform?
What is your platform on supporting this community, in particular the autistic community, which is being used to demonize everything from vaccines to inclusion in the classroom? And then Jacinta said, housing, immigration, suicide, mental health issues, they all impact a lot of residents in the city of Springfield. So if you can touch on one or two of those topics as well.
All right. Well, let me tackle the first one first, and then we can hit the second one, because there's a lot in that second one. With the first one, it's definitely part of a broader trend. If you look at EBT, there's so many programs where Trump is cutting funding, and we're just kind of left to pick up the pieces. My policy on making up the difference between the needs that exist and what the federal government is taking away is that the state government should treat what's happening right now as an emergency. We should use our rainy day funds to backstop these programs, expand state services to make up for what's being lost at the federal level. It's also part of the reason why I'm for increasing taxes on the very wealthiest and on corporations and doing pilot, because right now we need more revenue so that we can increase the support we're giving out to people. And I think that when we look at education, we have paraprofessionals. That's an unfunded mandate. That's something else the state should fix. We should provide monetary support for paras if we're going to mandate them, and I think they should be mandated, having worked in a classroom. They provide a lot of value. And I also think single-payer universal health care would do a lot to support people in the disabled community, because if you have a chronic illness, then the health insurance companies can have you. I meet people all the time who are in medical debt, serious medical debt, because of chronic illnesses outside of their control. And that's something that we recognize isn't working in our society. So we should fix it. But yeah, let's go on to Jacinta's.
Okay. Thank you. Definitely appreciate that.
All right.
Housing, immigration, suicide, mental health issues.
So on housing, housing is very complicated. Well, not very complicated, but it's nuanced. It's a nuanced issue. There's, you're talking about the situation with landlords earlier, with Nicole. I want to see an increase in the amount of subsidized housing that's being built. I also think that rent control is a policy that municipalities should be allowed to implement if they want to. I think it's kind of like an emergency button, where if there's really high inflation, things are, costs are increasing way faster than renters can afford, and I'm a renter myself, then, municipal officials should be allowed to make the decision to have some form of rent control, and, local citizens should be allowed to, ask their government officials to implement that kind of policy. I also am for getting equity firms out of housing. I know that the federal administration just, a couple months ago passed a bill that banned private equity firms from buying up more single-family houses. But I also think that we should try to claw back some of the stock they already own, and maybe that's how we expand the pool of publicly subsidized housing without having to do more construction necessarily. And then you look at a city like Springfield, we have a lot of blighted properties. I would like to see the state provide more funds to restore those properties, because right now the developers in the city seem more prone to be building single family houses rather than apartment blocks. And given the scale of the housing crisis we're living in, I definitely think that we need more apartment blocks. So that's my take on that issue. For immigration, I am, the great grandson of a bunch of immigrants. I'm Lebanese American, Italian American, German American. I have nothing but love for immigrants. I want to see ICE. Right now ICE has a budget, I believe 1.5 times the size of the FBI's. Trump's trying to turn them into a paramilitary force that can be used to oppress his political opponents domestically. And I think immigrants are really just the start if they're allowed to have their way.
So, Michael, you don't have to answer all 4. You could have just picked 2.
Yeah, I know.
We're just putting it out there, but go ahead. Finish your thought.
It's okay. I told you that was a long one.
We don't want to put a whole bunch of pressure on you.
Yeah, see, she has my cell number, so if you want, give me a call or text me, and I'm happy to talk through all of that. But I try to be an open book. A lot of these issues are complicated, and politics should not all be about just trying to fit things into sound bites. So I try to be specific about what I'm
Gotta
thinking.
connect.
We appreciate that. I guess the last question for you would be, not even the question. Tell the voters why you should be that candidate. Tell them why you should be their elected official.
Well, I think it is time for some change. If you want a candidate in this office who's going to be beholden to you instead of the Speaker of the House, vote for me. If you want a candidate who's going to be beholden to you instead of Eversource and Comcast, vote for me. If you want a candidate who believes in universal human rights and the humanity of all people, vote for me. That's my pitch.
And Michael did talk about education and fixing our schools and paras, and paras are so important. And I don't know if this is fixed yet, but I know we were advocating it at one point because they couldn't collect unemployment in the summers, like in there, they weren't getting increases and all these things. So I don't know if any of that has been fixed yet, but I like everything I've heard from you, Michael. I don't think we ever sat down and I really heard your legislative priorities, and I'm so impressed. And I also didn't know, because I don't pay attention a lot to what Angelo Pupolo does, but I'm gonna pay more attention because he has like a good size in the city of Springfield, of our community. And some of the things that you brought to light, I did not know. So I'm gonna tomorrow or this weekend go do some research on Angelo Pupolo and like what is he really doing for our community, because we got to listen to these things. We got to research. And you said some amazing things today, and your background, you well-traveled, so you've seen a lot, right?
Yeah.
You've seen a lot in other communities and other countries that you can even bring back to the state and implement. So you worked on a lot of campaigns to federal, state, and local too, right? Yep.
Yeah, federal and local. This is my first state. Well,
federal.
This is my first state one actually.
Okay.
I did intern for a state rep in Illinois, but that was.
So you interned, Michael. That all counts.
I was doing constituent services, so I was just being yelled at.
Constituent services. That's where it starts, right? That's where you learn the real problems. Constituent services, right?
Yeah.
So that's the best place to start. Any type of customer service, constituent service jobs is where you learn the real issues and how to diffuse the situation. Right, Daryl?
Very important skill for a politician, especially.
Absolutely. Michael, I'm so glad you came on. I know we talked about bringing you on earlier in the season, but life happens.
Yeah, life gets in the way. It's okay.
I'm happy that you're fighting a good fight. For anyone on my feed that will listen to me and allow me to influence your vote, I'm a strong supporter of Michael. If I had to describe it, I hope he doesn't mind. He's like the John Brown, the John Brown of Western mass politics. And I say that because he's willing to fight that fight. He has. It's like you can live the life he lived, and you can choose. And some people choose to live this life. The issues that he tackles, the passion that he has, he could take another route. This is the difficult route, and the work that you're doing is phenomenal. The work that you've done, as you talk about your body of work, phenomenal. We often talk about, we cross over. I'm obviously a black man. When I look for white elected officials or candidates, I look for the guys who are already doing the work. The folks who said, "Look, this is what I did in college. This is what I did after college. This is the work this is my passion," not because they're trying to gain my friendship, my allegiance, my loyalty, or my vote. It's what they do. And Michael is definitely one of those people. If you don't know, if you haven't voted in early voting, hit his website or call him.
Mhm.
Yes, my number is 413-275-5144. Again, that's 413-275-5144. Call me or text me at any time.
And I just got, go ahead.
I would say quick announcement for the Metro Record. Talked with my partners and staff. We're doing our last endorsement, and it's going to come out in the morning. And it is Michael.
Oh my God!
To let people know, we strongly support him for the next couple of days. You'll see a number of articles popping out. Anything he does, we're going to pop out because we say that we want elected officials like this. And when we get the opportunity, sometimes we say, "Oh my God, he's reaching way too far. Oh my God, that's a little radical. Oh my God, the rich people will never go for this." And it's like, vote for the people who are going to represent you. I keep reminding people, voting for an elected official is like hiring a lawyer to represent you in court. You want someone who is going to listen to you. You want someone who's going to put in the work to be able to articulate your concerns to whoever. Michael is one of those people. If he was an attorney, I would hire him to represent me because I believe in him. And I hope that people understand what that means. I'm not the easiest guy. So
not at all.
I wish you the best. I hope people come to their senses between Wilbraham and Springfield. I hope they understand what you offer, what you bring to the table. Again, on a personal note, I like Angelo. I've known him for almost 20 years. But what's your word, Tracy? Being palatable isn't always the way to go. I need someone who's going to challenge the process.
Yes.
Even if it means being making people uncomfortable or wherever the case may be. So continue to do what you do. I hope that you come out on top. We need you in Boston. So that's all I have to say, Tracy. Just
thank you so much.
Please, if you live in that district, give them your vote.
Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you for taking tonight, last minute ask to join us, to tell us more about you. Like, I want to learn so much more about you because you have dropped some nuggets, jewels tonight that I had no idea. And so that means I just got to do a little bit better. But someone on here said that we don't know what we don't know, and that is for real. But now you just like put the little nugget in there, and I'm like, I got to learn more and more and more about where this person stands, right?
I got to give some praise to Daryl Moss here, actually, because trying to get stories out about what's really happening in the legislature or people's records in this media climate in Springfield has been very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And, the Metro Record has repeatedly covered stories where nobody else has been willing to touch it. And so I am very, very appreciative of that because, people need to know what's happening. And if nobody's willing and the media is willing to tell them, then we all lose as a community. So,
and we want to thank everybody for watching us tonight. We love our following, we love our audience. Everybody shares, and we appreciate when you tell somebody else. Make sure you tell people to read the Metro Record because you get a very well-rounded perspective, and not so much as like the other media outlets that you can tell are one-sided or take sides because that's who maybe is paying their bills and things like that. No, not maybe, but getting some money from these particular people. So make sure that you read the Metro Record because Metro Record is not that. It's well-rounded, and Daryl Moss and the writers from the Metro Record, they're gonna tell the truth as they see it. And so we always need to hear both sides of the story, both sides, both sides of the coins. It's not a one size fit all for everything. Thank you all. We love you. We have kept you on 19 minutes longer than we should, because I could keep Michael on even longer. Like, Michael, we got to sit down. You got to tell me all these things that you
Text
just
me.
got nuggets. And everybody, Michael, say your number one more time, where they can, how they can support you. Like,
all right, 413-275-5144, or visit my website. It's electlachenmeyer.com. If you Google my name, it should come up. My last name is spelled Lachenmeyer. It's 2 words. It means laughing farmer.
Oh, Lachenmeyer.
You know what? Before we go, I just got a point. So I want to make sure everybody is really clear. Where is it? Somebody said, "Nah, vote for the real activist." Find me a real activist in District 12. Please understand that he's not running for the 11th Hampton. This is a different district. If you live in the 12th Hampton district, we're strongly encouraging people, at least I am, to vote for Michael and give him that vote. When it comes down to real activists, you might want to do some homework on who and what real activists are. You have street and community activists. You have political activists. There are different types of activists who fight for people on different levels. And we need almost every ally you can get your hands on. So before we tell people, nah, I think we might want to do some research and get a better understanding of what a real activist, not an act as if, but an activist. So do your homework.
Act as if. I like that.
Someone said, make sure you do your own homework on the do your own homework on the candidates. I strongly encourage people, do your homework.
Yeah.
Go to his website, Google, whatever you need to do it. Don't take my word for it. Do it and get out there and do the homework and be an educated voter. But don't rely on sidebar conversation, living room philosophers, barbershop theorists. Go out there and find out who's doing the work and who's doing the work that you need to get done for you. So I'm going to be quiet. That was actually 3 minutes. That wasn't warranted. I want to make sure that no one's giving people the wrong impression.
Right. Because he is not running against Nicole or Bud or Donnie or Johnny. He is in a whole nother district. It's 12. They're 11. And he's running against Angelo Pupolo. So let's make sure we're clear on what we're saying and what we're asking. And one thing that Daryl taught me early on, he said, don't say that you're an activist, say that you're an organizer. You get people together and you make change together. So I'd rather use that title over activist, because what does activist really mean, right? I organize and put in the work. Body of work speaks for itself. And so if you're an activist, you could just get on and just talk, but don't really put in a lot of work. Right. That's not what I'm seeing in Michael. That's not what I see in Nicole. That's not what I see in Tara. That's not what I see in Jeremy. This is not an endorsement to anybody. Michael is not in my district, nor is the 11th Hampton district with Bud, Nicole, and Donnie and Johnny. Those are not my voting districts. But I just want to make sure that we are clear on what we say. Another thing is, don't come on civil disruption and solicit. We are not soliciting people to donate to anything. You can, naturally, if we're having a campaign discussion, we naturally want you to consider supporting the folks that are talking to you. But we are not, don't come here and ask for other donations, please. Support, no, we're not doing that. And I just wanted to put that out there. Donnie, we're sorry you missed 2. I know you're in the hospital. I was going to say thank you for trying and saying yes that you would join. We hope you get better soon, sir. And
give me a call, and I would, if you're okay, if you're feeling better tomorrow, I'll get you on tomorrow and get an interview with you. Make sure you get some time. But with that being said, Tracy.
And Indy, I'm just going to call you out now because you posted it again.
I see a lot of talk. don't even I don't know who it is, but don't even address it. Michael, it was a pleasure having you on. Okay. Dr. Coakley, somebody tell her I said thank you. It was a joy having her on as well. Tara, it's always a pleasure. Tracy, you're the hostess with the mostest.
Always a pleasure being here with you. And we just gonna ignore the ignorance. I'm just gonna put that out there. All right. Thank you all. Have a great night. And Michael, we wishing you the best of luck. If you guys believe in him, vote for him.
I'm feeling good.
Tell,
I'll
some,
tell
tell
you.
somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody to tell
Yeah.
somebody else to vote for him. Okay.
All right, y'all.
All right.
Have a good
Take
night.
care. Thank you all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is a civil disruption discussion.